Good evening, everyone. My name is Irina Efros. Today, I'm gonna do a webinar on the topic, Put Your English in Action. First of all, I should introduce myself and say a few words about myself. My first degree is in journalism in St. Petersburg State University. My second degree is in marketing communications in Westminster University in London, UK. I was also working for some time as a guide interpreter with the foreign tourists in St. Petersburg. And last 5 years, I'm doing my own project, which is called English in Action SPb. And it mainly focuses on different educational and entertaining events in English for adults and for children separately. We do different educational excursions in different city areas. We do online quests in the big and small museums and around the city, open air quests around the city. We do very nice cooking classes with foreign chefs. Last year, we're doing amazing cooking classes of Mexican, American, British cuisine, Indian, Ethiopian ceremony, and hopefully this year, this summer, we'll still do it after the end of pandemic. And we do networking dinners so people can meet, talk, and practice English, and have some food as well. And we're doing yacht trips. We're organizing yacht trips to the Gulf of Finland during summer period. But today is one of my first webinars on my favorite topic, actually. And I really hope you will like it. And I can give you a guarantee that if you will use some of my techniques, it will help you to get a good result in studying English. And that I don't share information that I didn't try and didn't check by myself. So everyone you will hear and see in my presentation today, it's not Googled information. It's not information taken from some textbooks. It's information, it's techniques that I created by myself or that I got during my experience, my working experience. So let's go. Let me share a presentation with you. So here is information about myself again. So we're gonna talk during this webinar. We will learn how to expand a vocabulary, how to turn passive vocabulary into active, and how to break a language barrier. First, we'll talk about reading. Reading is very important, is a key thing to expand your vocabulary. So if a person gets into a habit of reading, then a person is exposed to new words. I strongly advise to read modern literature and newspapers, magazines, as this gives you a good understanding of modern language used in the office, business writing, making presentations, and in informal viral communication. When I was studying English in British Council, once I was told by a teacher that my English is very nice Shakespeare English. And at that time, I was thinking it's a nice compliment. But then lately I found out it's a very polite way to say that my English is a bit old-fashioned and outdated. Because I was reading a lot of literature, classical literature, of 18th, 19th century, beginning of 20th century, and I didn't read that much modern literature or newspapers and magazines or some online resources, which was a big mistake. So I strongly advise you to do it. and always make a habit to underline the new words and refer to them in the context section and try to understand their meaning. By doing so, you will remember the words and you will be able to make its correct usage. So first of all, try to understand the meaning of the word from the context and then look up its meaning in the dictionary. It's really helpful because the shortest way is just to see the word you don't understand and go to look up it in the dictionary. It's the easiest thing. But if you really want to do a good job, it's a bit of challenge and get a good result, you first of all need to work. You need to see the context in the whole and try to understand more or less the meaning, and then check it up if your guess is close to the real meaning or not so close. Here is the few newspapers and magazines I advise you to read. I'll explain to you why I made this choice. Guardian, Forbes, New York Times, Hello Mag, and Russian Beyond the Headlines. Guardian. This is my favorite one, UK, very old and very famous newspaper. I was reading it since I was a student in university. It helped me a lot in learning very high standard, good English, of very good level. But be careful with this one. Try to choose the topics which are not too complicated for you, topics which is of interest for you, and not very long one. Better try the shortest articles and understand most of the words and structures than be ambitious to take a big one and then zero, nothing. You don't understand anything and you'll get bored and tired very quickly. Another one is Forbes. Also very nice edition to get a good and structured and perfect English of very high level. New York Times, you have to register and pay for it, but some things you can read free of charge. And also if you are giving them your email, they're sending to you the newsletter with the New York Times cooking. So this is a good way, especially for women, I think, to study English and at the same time try some nice recipes from New York Times. And it's easier because it's the topic you understand and you can use. It's not some politics or economics in US that you don't really understand and maybe you're not interested in it. So my suggestion here is to find in these very serious newspapers something that can be interesting for you and the topic that you can refer yourself to so you can understand it. This is Hello magazine. It's a UK magazine, very light one, maybe something like Lisa in Russia, or Panorama, not Panorama, but maybe, you know, quite light thing to read. About private life of the stars, about haircuts, which are very fashionable this season. But the language is really great. This is the language you speak not in the office, not with while emailing to the foreign partners, but this is the language you can speak while traveling with your foreign friends in the streets, in restaurants, in bars. This is the routine day-to-day English, which is really good. And the last one in my list is Russia Beyond the Headlines. It's an online magazine for foreigners, expats mainly, who live in Russia, or for tourists who are traveling to Russia and are interested to know more about this country. Why I advise you this magazine? Because first of all, it's everything about Russia, so you understand it much better than something about foreign countries. And it's more interesting for you. Basically, you can read this in Russian, But you can try a challenge and read it in English, but you will understand it better because you understand the topic. It's your reality you are living in. And because also the journalists who are writing for Russia Beyond the Headlines are both foreigners and Russians with very good English. But this means it gives you a different perspective. Because Russians, even with very good English, even journalists with a very high standards of English, still they speak different English, not like native speakers, more understandable for us Russians. So this is just giving you another impression about English, which is really good, I think. This is my favorite part. Watch movies. So my suggestion is choose a movie for your level of English. Don't make it too simple, but don't take one too difficult for yourself. Separate a movie in few parts, approximately 20 minutes each, and watch it until you understand 100%. You don't need to understand approximately in the context. You don't need 50 or 70 or even 85%. You need 100%. So you watch 20 minutes, then you rewatch it until you understand everything, every single word. And you can translate, you can Google, you can look up in your paper dictionary, do whatever, but understand every single word. Sometimes, I was practicing this very often back the days, and actually some movies took me 1 week to understand. But this job was worth it. So I had a special movie note in which I wrote down new words and new phrases, both from different movies and from the magazines I've read. Then after you finish with the part of an article or a movie, take approximately 10, 12 words and try to memorize them. Then the next day, repeat them while being in public transport, while queuing to see the doctor, or having your coffee in the bakery. Try the next day, try your memory, check your memory, how you remember these words. And don't be nervous if you remember just 1 or 2 words. That's totally fine. The process is going. Very helpful is WLCR technique. It's the abbreviation of write, look, cover, repeat. How it works. Have a look at a page and take a picture of everything you see on it. Then try to repeat what you remember just in your head without pronouncing it. Then cover the translation, look at English words and translate by yourself. Then do vice versa. Look at Russian translation and turn into English. And after that, try to do this randomly. So choose a random words and translate them again. It sounds boring, but it's a really very helpful. It's a fast process, and even it can be fun. Try to make connections with the words. Whenever a person listens to a word, he should try to connect it to a word of similar meaning or words which help you to remember them. For example, if a person wants to remember the word gigantic, then he should connect it with a Godzilla or any other rhyming word. So try to find a rhyme. Or you can do it differently. For example, some words are similar in other languages, maybe in your mother tongue, in Russian language. So you can learn them easily by remembering words from your language. For example, piano, fortepiano, pianino, pistachio, fistашка, snow, снег. Play and have fun with the words. Make it a habit to play with words through various board games like Scrabble, crossword puzzles, Monopoly, and many others. It will really help your vocabulary improvement. These days, you don't even need a partner. to play these games. You can play by yourself online. But of course, in the company of friends, it's more fun. And usually I know people are doing it in a time cafe, for example, playing different board games. Use new words. This technique I am using even now very often. For example, while writing something in English or talking to your teacher, use 3-4 words you've learned recently in a context. This way they will be fixed in your memory quicker and for longer. In the beginning it sounds and it does look a little bit unnatural, but later it becomes a very nice habit and you do it unconsciously. But first you have to push yourself a little bit. So let's say today, for example, I've learned 3 words, which are from the movie Desperate Housewives, which is the phrase, you cross the line, wicked, and a nut job. Nut job, it's like сумасшедший, сумасшедшая. You cross the line, ты перешел черту, and wicked. So I'm saying, for example, to someone, to my colleague, English teacher, or my foreign friend, you know, I think someone, I've watched a movie or I met someone and she's a really nut job. And I was so wicked when she did this and that and said this to me. So I think she really crossed the line and I stopped talking to her. I'm not in communication with her anymore, for example. So try to incorporate these words, new words you've learned in your speech. And one more advice, the person should set realistic goals for himself. Because every individual has his or her own caliber to do things. Although there are some exceptional cases, in general, an average person can remember only 10 words that he learns or she learns at a time. So try to set goals that are realistic rather than goals which are difficult to achieve. Because when you set a higher goals for yourself, you put an extra effort. And sometimes you become overburdened, very tired, and a little bit depressed. And you start to hate what you're doing. And you're not coming back to it anymore. And this happened to many of us at school when we were not interested in the subject. And especially in English schools, when we were given a lot of lessons of English, a lot of tasks. And it was too much for us because we had something else to do. So it was overburden for us. Overburden means too much. And then, since that time, we started to hate English. And we don't speak it, we don't know it. And now, in our adult life, we really need it for work, for traveling, for, I don't know, immigrating or going abroad to study, to work, to marry a foreign person, and we don't have it. So, small steps to the final goal, not huge steps, and then it's finished, and you don't reach your goal. Our next subtopic inside the big topic, how to make your passive vocab active. First of all, let me remind you, what does it mean? Passive vocabulary and active vocabulary. So passive vocabulary includes the words that you can recognize and understand but can't come up with on your own when writing and speaking. For its part, active vocabulary includes all words that you can think of and use right away when you are in the process of communicating. So meaning, there are some words you know But when you improvise, when someone need a quick reaction from you, you won't react with this word, you won't understand. But later on, you hear this word, you can understand its meaning. So here are tips on how to make your passive vocabulary active. Use synonyms. And here, I should explain to you what does it mean. What do you do when forgetting a word in your mother language, mother tongue? You don't look it up in a dictionary, right? You try to use another word with a similar meaning to express yourself. So do it, and your brain will get more adept at searching for the vocabulary you need. For example, you know word beautiful, but there is also word handsome for man, good looking, pretty, nice, stunning, like she's a stunning woman, or he has a really good looks, etc., etc. So don't repeat always beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Try some new words. At first, maybe one or two, and then expand it. Then read smart, but choose autobiographies and poems as non-fiction can draw your attention to the plot and not to the vocabulary. So sometimes, yeah, memoirs and autobiographies are boring, much boring than non-fiction, but then you are more concentrated on words and phrases than onto the plot, to the characters, etc., etc. No plug words. To expand your active vocabulary, say no to your favorite word replacements. Don't simply paraphrase or plagiarize from others. Don't be lazy about finding that particular noun or adjective to communicate your ideas. How to figure out these words? Reread your messages with the friends on Facebook, WhatsApp, or whatever messenger you use. Make a list of the words you often choose to fill vocabulary gaps. These are the plugged words. And try to avoid them. Again, it will be challenging in the beginning. You'll be pushing yourself, but you'll succeed. And translate. When I say translate in this context, I don't mean translate an article or translate I don't know, a book or something. No, translate small words you meet in the day-by-day life. Translate instruction, how to use a coffee machine in English. Translate what's written on your tube of cream. Translate advertisement or the name of the cafe you see it on the street. So try to make it a nice habit, translating small things you meet in your daily life. So the last section is breaking ice, breaking language barriers. How to get rid of language barriers. Some people are too shy to speak even in their mother tongue with others. Others are such perfectionists that they can't imagine speaking not fluently and imagining reactions to their mistakes. But from my experience, I know it's easier to say than to start doing it. So here are few realistic advices I can give. Talk to yourself. Tell yourself about you, what you like and what you dislike, about your job, your house, your habits, your hobbies, your friends. Talk to yourself each day for just 5 minutes. It sounds bizarre, synonyms, bizarre, weird, strange. You see, I'm using my methods. But lately, you will understand that it helps, because if you are too shy to communicate with others, you can start talking to yourself. No one will know. I tried it myself. It helped a lot, actually. After some time, you'll start to dream in English. You start to think in English while going along the street or taking a shower. And you are you can correct your mistakes. And then you can start talking to others. Do like that. Want to review your plans? Do it in English. Are happy with something? Express it in English. Having negative emotions? You know what to do. Say, God damn it. Wow, I love it. Shit, sorry for saying that. Or ouch, terrific. Express your emotions in English. But be sure nobody's watching you. Otherwise, they can send you to Кащенко, to Stepanova-Skvortsova. Get friend who also studies English. And talk to him or her 15 minutes via phone, WhatsApp, in person in English, naturally. It's really good because it's not a task. It's a very informal conversation in a friendly atmosphere. And you can do it not in a class, but you can do it in a cafe. You can do it at home. You can do it on the street while walking dog. And your friend will never react to the way you don't like. And he or she won't judge you because he or she is not a professional teacher. It's not his or her job to judge you and to evaluate your level of English. And also the good thing is you can discuss a lot of topics while in class. Your focus is only one topic, and maybe this topic is not chosen by you. It's chosen by other people in the class or by professor, by the teacher. Here you can expand a list of the topics, and expanding a list of the topics means expanding of your vocabulary. I had a very close friend in university, and her level of English, and actually French as well, was really good. And during the breaks, we met in the cafe, and while having coffee, we were discussing hundreds of topics in English. Boyfriends and our teachers, our professors, and tasks, and what movie or what theater performance we've watched yesterday, and so on and so forth, and shops and clothes. We were having some rumors about our classmates, which was really nice. And once one guy from our class, he heard us speaking in English, and he asked, girls, you don't want other people to understand you, that's why you're speaking English. And that wasn't true. We were doing this just to practice, but this was a nice guess, like, you know, like a secret chat. And actually it's nice, so no one will understand you, maybe. The next tip is use application to find your speaking partner. One of my close friends, she's using Hello Talk, and I really recommend it because it's free of charge if you choose only one language, because you can choose few languages to practice, but if you concentrate on one, it's free of charge. And you can meet people from all over the world, from USA, UK, Canada, and Australia, if we're talking about your interest in English and practicing English with a native speaker. My friend, she found a very nice professor from Mexican University, and they were discussing Dostoevsky, which was really nice because this guy, he is really intelligent, very educated, very nice guy who wasn't evaluating her Spanish. He was helping her to break the ice, to break the language barrier. And if you're too shy, you always can stop this conversation and forget about this person, because he's not your professor, he's not your friend or your boss at work. He's nobody, and a stranger, total stranger. And you can end it up as soon as you don't want it anymore. Or my advice is you can have a nice glass of wine, relax, and the conversation will go smoother, much smoother. And my last tip is join offline speaking club in your city. I suggest World Language Cafe. You know, I'm really very practical. I'm a practitioner. I don't like a theory, like join some speaking club, but I don't know which one, or maybe you can find one in your city. I know this one I'm using. For the last few years, I practice French with a native speaker. And what is good for people who are shy and who can't break language barrier by themselves is that at the beginning, you don't need to talk a lot. You can just sit, listen, introduce yourself to other people and listen, and improve your auditioning, listening skills for a few times. And when then you're ready to speak, you can speak without being pushed by anybody and without being evaluated, because people, they are from different backgrounds, different language, they have different language experiences, they have different language levels. So some are higher than you, and you can listen to them and try to get higher. Some are weaker than you, and for you it's a good scale to measure your English process. How is it going? How you're doing better? And my last tip is reward yourself for everything you are doing. Don't blame or punish or be negative about yourself. Say to yourself, I'm getting there, and have a coffee or a glass of wine with something sweet, because you deserve it. And reward yourself for everything you are doing in your life. Every step is a step to success, a step forward, and a step to your goal. As a famous choreographer and dancer, Baryshnikov said, don't compare yourself to others. Compare yourself with yourself yesterday. What you've been yesterday and what you are today. This is a real progress, and this is a great difference. This is a work you've done for yourself. So thank you for your attention, for the time you spent with me. I wish you positivity. I wish you health to overcome these pandemic times, to have a nice rest of the week, and to join our social media of my project English in Action SPb in Wiki, Facebook, Instagram, or you can see my email. Ask any questions, see our new news, follow our timetable. Hopefully this will be over, this pandemic, and everyone can join English events and practice English in reality in a nice company of people. Thank you. Bye.